Bpi Jazza picks ex-NEDA chief Carl Chua, ex-Sun Life PH CEO Rizalina Mantaring as new Bpi directors. Boy Blue del Rosario steps down. Billionario Jaime Augusto Zobel de Ayala is adding fresh blood into his family's Bank of the Philippine Islands, BPI. BPI has nominated former Socioeconomic Planning Secretary Carl Kendrick Chua and retired Sun Life Philippines President and CEO Rizalina Mantaring in the election of directors during its annual stockholders meeting on April 27. The 44-year-old Chua will replace former Finance Secretary and PHINM Chairman and CEO Ramon Boy Blue del Rosario as non-executive director. The 63-year-old Mantaring will fill up the newly created 15th board seat and the 6th independent director of the country's third biggest private lender. She retired from Sun Life in 2018. A BPI board seat is one of the most lucrative among blue-chip companies. Last year, BPI paid an annual retainer of P4.2 million for each director, excluding executive directors, and a per diem of P70,000 per board meeting and P30,000 per committee meeting. Aside from Zobel, the other BPI directors up for re-election are President and CEITG Limcaoco, Cesar P. Conzing, Janet Guathar Ang Rene G. Bañez, Romeo L. Bernardo, Ignacio R. Bunya, Emmanuel S. de Dios, Octavio Victor R. Espiritu, Aurelio R. Montanola III, Cesar V. Purisima, Jamie Z. Urquillo, and Maria Dolores B. Uvienco. Monde Drew Barrymore fails to beef up corn sales. Betty Ang swallows P20.5 billion loss on Monde's fake meat flop. Monde Nissin, led by billionaire Betty Ang, took a massive hit on its fake meat business, which led to the noodle and biscuit maker's biggest loss ever. Monde reported a net loss of P13 billion in 2022 after booking a whopping P20.5 billion for Quorn in the same year. Quorn, which Monde acquired in 2015 for P39 billion, lost P272 million in 2022 from a profit of P651 million in 2021. Monde CEO Harry Soesanto called the impairment loss as prudent but a frustrating setback. Aside from rising borrowing costs and mounting risks, Soesanto revealed that Quorn was late in raising prices to catch up with rising inflation and it was not making as much money as management expected, margin compression. Soesanto also stated that there was some reduction in sentiment toward the meat alternative category, or consumers didn't like Quorn, even after getting Charlie's Angels star Drew Barrymore as brand ambassador, and that it probably sent too much in focusing in the U.S. market, where we are currently undertaking a restructuring. Quorn had programmed $335 million, P18 billion, in investments to increase production capacity and tap more fast food chains in 2021. But Mondes appears unfazed by the worsening stink from its fake meat business. Soesanto said, "We continue to believe in the long-term growth potential for sustainably produced and clean-label alternative proteins. We are the world's largest producer of mycoprotein, which fits all these attributes and is a key differentiator for us. During this current category slowdown, we are seeing consumers gravitate towards quality, as demonstrated by a growth of over 50% in our food service business and recovering market share in the UK," Soesanto added. Monde had doubled down on the fake business with a $2 million investment in another fake meat maker, Terramino. Monde explained the California-based Terramino at the early stage of its business life cycle, involving food products made from koji, which is similar to Quorn's core ingredient, mycoprotein. Upson best IPO opening in 17 months. Lawrence Lee's Upson makes smashing debut in PSE. Upson International, Upson, of computer retail king Lawrence Lee gave the stock market a pleasant surprise before the long Holy Week break. Upson surged 21% to P2.90 from its initial public offering price, IPO, of P2.40 on its listing day on April 3.
Upson traded between P2.27 and P3.30 with a total trade of P47.8 million. This is the hottest Philippine stock exchange's IPO debut since Alday Marts of ultra-billionario Manny VR hit the day's ceiling of 50% when it listed on the 3rd of November 2021.
We're probably one of the IPOs with a real and earning business. Most are still projections, Lee said. Lee's decision to slash Upson's IPO price by 56%, from the original P5.50, and strong institutional buying contributed to its strong opening. First Metro Investment is the issue manager, bookrunner, and with RCBC Capital as joint lead underwriter.
Secb. Frederick Dye's Security Bank secures P2.5 billion fund management contract with SSS.
The Social Security System, SSS, the premier government social insurance program in the Philippines catering to the needs of the country's private sector workers and their families, has awarded Security Bank Corporation's Trust and Asset Management Group, TAMG, a fund management contract worth P2.5 billion for a 3-year period. The move comes after a rigorous bidding process involving top fund managers in the Philippines. For SSS, the decision to tap reputable partners in the fund management industry is a step towards enhancing its investment portfolio return, and consequently extending the actuarial life of the SSS fund. The bank's portfolio will consist of 2 mandates, a P1.5 billion balanced fund mandate and a P1 billion pure fixed income fund mandate. Security Bank TAMG offers a wide array of investment and trust services for its clients, including unit investment trust funds, UITF, retirement funds, investment management accounts, escrow agency accounts, corporate and pre-need trusts. The bank's commitment to delivering better banking not only to SSS but also to its members, through prudent fund management, is evident in its track record of delivering impressive results. Mer Greening Southeast Asia's power grid, Meralco Unit I's RE project in Indonesia. Meralco Powagen Corp. Subsidiary, Pacific Light Power Private Limited, is eyeing a renewable energy, RE, project in Indonesia that will supply power to Singapore through an undersea cable link. The move is part of the company's international expansion plans as it finalizes its 1,500 megawatts RE projects in the Philippines. According to MGen President Jamie Azuran, the initiative seeks to leverage Indonesia's abundant land and islands to develop the RE project, which will supplement Pacific Light's 800 megawatts natural gas facility in Jurong Island, Singapore. However, obtaining an export permit from the Indonesian government is proving to be a meticulous process due to the cross-border nature of the project. Nonetheless, Azuran remains optimistic that Pacific Light will secure the permit soon and make headway in developing the RE project within the year. The project aims to promote the Singapore Green Plan 2030, which seeks to increase renewable generation in the country. Pacific Light is partnering with an Indonesian company to realize the project, which will feature a solar battery in Indonesia that exports power to Singapore. Telephone P48 billion spending scandal fallout. S&P downgrades PLDT rating. S&P Global Ratings has lowered PLDT Inc.'s credit rating following the discovery of its beyond budget capital expenditures, CapEx, in 2022.
PLDT is now rated at BBB, with a stable outlook, one notch lower than the country-wide BBB+ rating.
PLDT Inc.'s persistently high capital expenditure, CapEx, will continue to weigh on its balance sheet, the credit rater said in a statement. The revision is dated March 31, with S&P pointing out that the funding crunch pushed the billionaire Manny Pangilinan-led telco to incur a 2.8x to 3x debt to EBITDA ratio that's well beyond the threshold to remain at BBB+. The credit rating downgrade meant borrowing abroad will likely be more expensive for PLDT, at a time of rising global interest rates and inflation. The debt watcher also flagged management and governance shortcomings within PLDT. An investigation by PLDT, together with its external counsel and consultants, identified no fraud, intentional concealment, or conduct in bad faith, S&P said. However, management's ability to monitor and arrest the higher-than-budgeted capex on a timely basis, and the sufficiency of board oversight have come into question. S&P noted that PLDT's rating headroom has been strained the past 2 years as a result of elevated capex. While PLDT has publicly maintained its intention to reduce its debt-to-EBITDA ratio to 2.0x, based on its own calculations, the gap between PLDT's leverage target and our adjusted ratios has widened, the debt watcher said. S&P said that while higher earnings from 2023 to 2024 will cushion PLDT against rising debt, stronger competition, especially from third telco Bdo, could reduce profits. We may lower the rating if we believe PLDT's competitiveness has deteriorated, leading to a decline in operating performance. We may also lower the rating if we believe the company will operate with a higher leverage tolerance over a sustained period, the debt watcher added.
ACEN. Ayala Group aims for 100% renewable energy portfolio by 2025.
ACEN Corp. The Ayala Group's energy arm has announced its commitment to achieving net zero, becoming the first Southeast Asian energy company to do. With the aim of combating climate change, ACEN has developed a roadmap with both near-term and long-term emission reduction targets that are aligned with the latest climate science and consistent with the deep decarbonization of the power sector. As part of its transition plan, ACEN aims to shift its generation portfolio to 100% renewable energy by 2025, an ambitious goal that highlights the company's commitment to sustainability.
ACEN has completed the full divestment of its South Luzon Thermal Energy Corporation coal plant in November 2022, using the Energy Transition Mechanism (ETM) framework.
The sale generated 7.2 billion pesos in proceeds for ACEN, which will be reinvested into renewable energy projects. To develop its net zero roadmap, ACEN collaborated with South Pole, a global climate solutions provider, in the calculation of a detailed greenhouse gas footprint and the development of a robust net zero pathway. ACEN owns a generation portfolio of 4,030 megawatts of net attributable capacity. APX Razon's Apex Mining strikes gold with all-time high profits of P3.3 billion in 2022.
Apex Mining Co., Inc., the firm led by billionaire Enrique Razon Jr., reported a staggering increase in net income for 2022, reaching an all-time high of P3.34 billion. This represents a five-fold surge from the previous year, driven by robust production levels and revenues.
The company's consolidated revenues jumped by 39% to reach P10.31 billion, with gold accounting for the majority at P9.854 billion, and silver contributing P456 million to the mix.
Apex Mining sold a total of 101,096 ounces of gold, up by 28%, and 382,345 ounces of silver, an increase of 6%. According to Apex Mining, its two operating mines, Mako and Sangelo, increased their milling capacity by 250 tons per day or 11%, and 200 TPD, up 100% respectively. This resulted in the Mako mine's average milling capacity reaching 2,330 TPD, resulting in a total tonnage milled of 815,910 tons, a 15% increase from the previous year. The gold feed grades rose by 6% to 3.96 GPT, leading to a 23% increase in gold production to 91,072 ounces, while silver production rose by 5% to 377,729 ounces. Despite a 15% increase in mill production, the cost of materials and supplies only accounted for 12% of the increase.
Bdo Siblings Bdo partners with Japan's Hyakujushi Bank to support Japanese businesses. The Sai family's banking unit, BDO Unibank Inc., has signed a Memorandum of Understanding, MO, with the Hyakujushi Bank Limited, HBL, a leading regional bank in Japan's Kawaga Prefecture, to further strengthen their relationship.
HBL, which has 132 branches including satellite offices and commercial banking services, becomes the 16th Japanese bank to partner with BDO.
Under the agreement, BDO will provide banking support services to Japanese business entities that are HBL customers and have existing operations or plan to build or expand their businesses in the Philippines.
HBL is the 16th Japanese bank to partner with BDO, which has established similar partnerships with several regional banks in Japan over the past 10 years.
With 132 branches, including satellite offices and commercial banking services, HBL has about 60,000 corporate clients mostly located in industrial zones. The bank expects to grow its customer base in the Philippines through new investments and business matching deals.
BDO's extensive distribution network includes over 1,600 consolidated operating branches and more than 4,600 ATMs nationwide. It offers a wide range of digital banking solutions to provide a more convenient, faster, and secure banking experience for its clients.
APL is fired up and ready to scale up, TAP's new site for operations.
Offshore mining firm Apollo Global Capital, APL, has announced its plans to ramp up production capacity in the coming year.
Despite delays in the start of its magnetite ore extraction operations in Cagayan, the company has made arrangements with the Cagayan Economic Zone Authority, JZA, to expand its existing mineral production sharing arrangement.
APL has identified a new site near its onshore processing plant to commence operations. According to APL President Bonner Daitok, the company's vessel MB-1 is now fully equipped and has commenced magnetite iron stockpiling operations in the JZA area. Daitok has confirmed that all mineral proceeds from this venture will form part of the company's shipment. APL expects to increase its production capacity further with the arrival of additional equipment to take full advantage of this year's production season.